This is the most outrageous scene of a broken blade in the Forged in Fire competition. When the judge took a single swing, not only was the blade instantly snapped by the Chinese gong, but only the handle's spring remained, stubbornly bouncing away non-stop. These are also the most outrageous two divine weapons since the start of the forging competition. Rather than calling them blades, it would be more accurate to call them ancient fossils. And the root cause of all this lies in the bizarre forging materials provided by the show's producers. In this competition, the producers didn't directly provide steel. Instead, they brought out dozens of cylindrical steel rods with a mix of soft and hard steel. The contestants had to make their own judgments, and then using these materials, forge a distinctive short blade with the Sanmi 3-layer technique. What made the contestants even more desperate was that the producers also turned off the 3-hour timer. The contestants could only rely on their instincts to plan their forging time. This level of difficulty can be said to have been pushed to the limit. As the host gave the order, the competition officially began. After getting the steel, James first used a spark test to distinguish between the soft and hard steel billets. Large sparks indicated hard steel, while small sparks indicated soft steel. After distinguishing the soft and hard steel billets, he quickly started heating and forging them, using a power hammer to stretch and lengthen them. His plan was to stretch a piece of soft steel, divide it into two parts, and then sandwich the hard steel to forge the Sanmi. This approach could save time, but it might face the risk of the blade billet being too thin. Kelly, on the other hand, chose two steel billets based on her instincts, then used an angle grinder to cut off a piece of steel from each for heating and quenching. Next, she used a small hammer to strike them. If it could be hammered through, it was hard steel. This method did work, but unexpectedly, when cutting the soft steel, she only cut off a small piece of scrap. She tried to sandwich the hard steel with this. Such an operation left the judges looking utterly perplexed. Although this approach could save heating time, with such a small amount of soft steel, there were bound to be continuous problems later on. After distinguishing between the soft and hard steel, Michael quickly put them into the furnace for heating and forging. After stretching and lengthening the soft steel, he also chose to divide it into two parts and sandwich the hard steel to forge the Sanmi. However, due to his inability to use a welding torch, welding the Sanmi was extremely difficult. William identified the hard steel by using the principle of quenching and hardening high-carbon steel. Then he used an angle grinder to clean the surface impurities and completed the welding of the Sanmi. At this point, the host announced the time. With only 1.5 hours left, James was the first to finish heating the Sanmi and started stamping it on the machine. But unexpectedly, the fusion of his steel billet Sanmi was a complete failure. In the end, it all cracked and fell to the ground. He had no choice but to start over as quickly as possible. On the other side, Kelly's Sanmi forging turned out relatively well, but during the quenching process, the blade billet actually caught fire. Upon closer inspection, not only was there no discernible blade shape, but the charred steel billet on top left the judges questioning their own sanity. The judges were so infuriated by these outrageous operations from the contestants that they were pounding the table in anger. So under such a situation full of problems, whose blade would come out on top? Let's wait and see.